of like brushes 101 for you. I want to talk about all of the different brushes. I use what I think if you're going to do this professionally, you should have all of these brushes, but I'm going to clarify as to which ones I think if you're just personally doing your makeup, you don't need to have or to buy. Okay, so I'm going to go over these brushes in the order that I tend to do makeup. If you're a professional makeup artist, I recommend you have something to put primer on, whether it's a disposable sponge or a brush. Your call. If you're doing your own makeup, I would just use your fingers. Like, don't bother buying another brush unless you already have it. But this is what I use to apply like either a moisturizer or a primer on my clients. So after my primer, I would do my concealer. So I tend to always have two different concealer brushes for my clients. I have something oval like this that I could do my under eye concealer with. And then I prefer either a smaller brush or just something with a tip like this so that you could do blemishes. Even if you have a wand, you shouldn't apply the wand directly to the face. You can dip this onto the wand or put the wand on a palette, whatever you want, but apply with the brush. Now, personally for myself, I use a wand and I just conceal with that. So this particular concealer brush with the point you might not necessarily need for doing your own makeup. Now, another option, if you are a beauty blender person like I am, I love my beauty blender, but I always like to have another option because I don't always want to use a new beauty blender every single day. So I have a flat foundation brush like this that I tend to use more for like my tinted moisturizers. Just something flat, easy to buff into your skin. So once the foundation's on, I would use a liquid highlighter. Now again, personally for myself, I use a wand because it's just a concealer and I would just apply it directly to my skin. However, if you're a professional makeup artist, I just double up with my concealer brush to do my liquid highlight underneath. Now my liquid or cream contours, again, on my own personal self, I use a stick, so I just apply it directly to my skin. However, my clients, I put it on a palette and then I apply with nice little blending brush, and you could just buff it out, like apply it and buff it out all in the same little brush. Now after I do all of that, I use a powder. So for powdering under my eye, I just use this very small little powder puff to go underneath my eye to just set it for a minute, and then I go in with a powder brush to buff powder into your skin, and then I wipe off the under eye powder with the same brush as well. Then I would go into my powdered contour, and I like to use these larger fan brushes just because I kind of feel like I can like carve out lines as to like where I really want the deepest part to go. Now for my highlighter underneath my eyes, that's like my matte highlighter, I use just a short blending brush like this, just so I can really like get it into the corner and the bags of my eyes, really highlight my under eyes. My bronzer brush, I like to use nothing bigger than this brush, but I like that it's pointed, so again you can kind of carve out but then buff to blend up and down, and just it's good to get details, or you could really work it out to bronze wherever you need to bronze. So this is my favorite bronzer brush. And then as far as a blush brush, I actually prefer the angled ones like this, just because I feel like I can blend it out a tiny bit better. If you like just a flat blush brush, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. I just personally prefer an angled brush. For my shimmery highlight, you know, the one I would do up here on my cheekbone, for the powder, I like to use something like this. Kind of looks like a blending brush for your eyes. They just tend to be a little bit bigger and fluffier, and I think this is perfect to get that like glow on your cheekbones because you can get very precise with it and it doesn't get out of hand. Eye primer, you can obviously use your fingers, and for myself I just tap an eye primer on with my fingers. However, with my clients, I try not to put my hands on their face too much, so I recommend just any kind of something with not too fluffy, that's mainly more for like creams and stuff. I just feel like I could tap it in and blend it in really well with this. For your eyeshadows, I personally like to always have two of these eyeshadow brushes, one that tends to be like a little bit firmer and one that's a little softer and more movable, just because I feel like depending on the look I'm gonna do, I'd like to use both. Okay, and as far as my blending brushes go, I tend to like something like this more for applying and blending like a softer, naturaler color into the eyeshadow. And then I like something more like this. It's a little stiffer. It's really good at like blending colors into your skin or blending out colors. This brush really is like a staple in your kit. It's great for deepening creases to like really get detail on the upper lid, as well as it's a great way to just throw some color on the bottom lid if you want it to just kind of give like a soft look with a lighter color. This is great. Also using these small smudger brushes, so this will give detail into like the bottom lid really, really well, and these are also great for doing like a smudged eyeliner up top. An angled brush for eyeliner, wider ones like this I tend to like better for using powder, so you could do it for detailing the bottom, you could do it to do like a smudged eyeliner up top, you could do a winged eyeliner with this, you could do a lot with it, but if it's like a little bit fatter up here, it's better for powder. Smaller, thinner, more precise angle brushes are great for using for like a gel eyeliner. This is really good for them, especially if it's going to be an angled brush. It's great for doing a winged eyeliner. Now, also for your gel eyeliners, this is a little bit more versatile. I always use it for gel, but you know, it's great for just doing a regular gel liner. It's good for a winged eyeliner. I think this is definitely a little bit more versatile than the angle brush. And it's also very detailed, and you can get to very thin all the way to very thick. So that's why I love this brush so much. Eyebrow brushes, the double-sided brow brushes. So you just have like an angled brush on this side, which is great for doing, you could do a powder eyebrow with this, you could do a powder with pomade with this. It's very versatile, and then you can flip to blend. And these spoolies are so important for doing eyebrows. It really is just gonna blend in and buff any color you put on your eyebrow, as well as kind of keep them tamed and in the direction you want them to go. If you're doing makeup on yourself, this might not be a super important brush if you have a very steady hand. However, for clients, this brush is fantastic. It's just a really small fan brush, and I think it's perfect for applying mascara. So since obviously a mascara you can't apply directly to your client, you can't use the brush on a client and put it back into the product because that would contaminate it. This is, you could just get the product from your brush and apply it to the top lid, you can apply it to the bottom. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, just a lip brush. So if you're doing your own personal makeup, you're probably not going to use this all the time, but it's good to have, because if you want to mix two colors together, this is the way you should be applying a mixed lip with a brush. But if you are using on a client, this is the way to go, because you can't apply directly with a lipstick, or if it's a gloss or a liquid matte, any of those things you need to be applying with a brush to not contaminate your product. But if you're doing your own makeup, it's good to have, because you never know when you're gonna need to blend out your lip or mix two colors together. Do I have other brushes besides this? Absolutely, for myself as well as my clients, but I definitely think this is just a basic kit for brushes. Whether you are a professional makeup artist or you want to build your brush kit for your own personal use. And so I hope this helps you, mostly just to clarify and so that people don't necessarily need to feel so overwhelmed with buying brushes.